So let's go for number 2 now, since it wants to work now. Okay, so number 2, okay, we have 1/4. Why is that not as big? Okay, so 1/4 times 4/5. Okay, so with this, we already have 2 fractions, so all we do is multiply the numerators and then multiply the denominators. So, what do we got to multiply on top? What are we multiplying on top? Hunter? 1 times 4. That's it. So then that'd be 4. Okay, what about 4 times 5? What would that be? 20. Now, our problem is this in simplest form? No. Okay, so that's why I didn't talk about it then, but you can also simplify before you multiply. So like we talked about this last week, is there anything I can do with 1 and 5? What about 4 and 4? Yeah, we can divide a 4 out. So that becomes 1, that becomes 1. Now, if you would have just multiplied it out like we did here, all you got to know is you got to divide by 4 at the end. So no matter what, you're going to end up getting 1/4. Or no, 1/5, sorry. 1/5. So letter I. Okay. How do I erase? There we go. All right. Maybe. So number 3. We have 3.5 times 1.5. Now we have 2 mixed numbers and we're multiplying. So what do we have to do here before we can multiply? Does anybody remember? What do we have to do to those mixed numbers before we can multiply? Katie? Change them into improper fractions because we can't do anything when they're like this. So we have to do 3 times 2 plus 1. So what is 3 times 2? Plus 1. So we get 7/2. Okay, we keep the multiplication for now. And then this one we do 1 times 2 plus 1. 3. So we get 3/2. Now we just multiply it out. But I'm going to look to see if I can simplify before I multiply. So is there anything I can do with 7 and 2? What about 3 and 2? No. So we just multiply. So what's 7 times 2? Or 7 times 3, I mean. 21. And 2 times 2? 4. Okay, so this is improper. We don't want to leave it like this, so we need to turn it back into a mixed number. So to do that, you got to figure out how many times 4 goes into 21. 5 times. And you're left with 1/4. So that would be the letter A. Okay, so let's look at number 4 now. So number 4 says an envelope is 3 1/3 inches long by 3.5 inches wide. What is the area of the envelope? So does anybody remember how you find the area of a rectangle? What do you have to do to find the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So all we're doing is multiplying 3 1/3 times 3.5. Because the length, they told us it was 3 1/3 inches long and 3.5 inches wide. Well, here's our length, here's our width. So we just multiply. So now we got to change these back into improper fractions before we can multiply. To do that, we take 3 times 3 plus 1. 10. 10/3. Times. Now we got to do this one over here. So 3 times 2 plus 1. 7/2. Okay, let's look to see if we can simplify. Is there anything I can do with 7 and 3? What about 10 and 2? Yeah, we can take a 2 out. So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So then we multiply. What's 5 times 7? 35. 3 times 1. Okay, so this is improper, so we're going to change it back. Does anybody know how many times 3 goes into 35? 11 times. And you're left with 2/3, which is letter G. Okay, so with multiplication, there's no changing anything. All you're doing is multiplying. Okay, so that's the one thing you got to remember with fractions. Whenever you see multiplication, you literally just multiply. All right, let's go to number 5. So 5 says, Justin ate 1/4 of a pizza or a pie. If there were 8 slices of pie, how many slices did Justin eat? So if he ate 1/4 of the pie and there was 8 slices of there, okay, what are we doing? Are we multiplying or dividing? What do we got to do here? We multiply or divide with these. Okay, so if he ate 1/4 of it and we know there's 8 slices, what do we got to do here? Okay, so when you're dealing with fractions like this, you're actually going to multiply. Okay, so what you do is you set up 1/4 times, what was it, 8? Okay, so with 1/4 is good, we have a fraction, but this problem is this 8. What do we have to do with that 8? Okay, put it over 1, so 8/1. Okay, so can we simplify anything with 1 and 1? No. What about 4 and 8? 4. 2 would work too, but as well, but you want to try to get the biggest number. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So then you literally have 2/1, which means just 2, which is letter A, 2 slices. So he ate 1/4 of the piece, or 1/4 of the pie, so he ate 2 pieces of pie. Okay, one more in the front. Number 6. What is the area of a rectangle with the length of 3/4 of a yard and the width of 5/6 yards? So what do we have to do here to find the area? How do we find the area? Length times width again. So we're going to do 3/4 times 5/6. So this one's already set up for us. We have 2 fractions, so all we do is multiply, but we can simplify before we multiply. So is there anything we can do with 4 and 5? What about 3 and 6? Yeah, we can divide a 3 out. So I get 1, and I get 2 down here. So then we multiply. What's 1 times 5? 5. 4 times 2? 8. Do we have to do anything else? No, it's just a regular fraction, so we're done. So it's letter I. Okay, so that's the front page. Any questions on the front? All right, let's go ahead and go on to the back. Okay, now we're going to start getting into division. All right, so number 8, yep, 1/2 divided by 1/3. Okay, so when you see division with a fraction, this is when those rules come into play. So we keep the 1/2. We change the division to multiplication, and we flip to 3/1. Because we didn't have to change anything. They were both fractions, so we can go ahead and do this. Now, we simplify before we multiply if we can. So is there anything we can do with 1 and 1? Nope. What about 3 and 2? No. So we just multiply it out. So 1 times 3, 3. 2 times 1, 2. Now, are we done with this? That is in simplest form, but are we done? No, because that's improper. So how many times is 2 going to 3? So do 1 and 1/2, which is letter D. All right, and number 9, 3 divided by 5/6. Okay, so now we know that we don't have 2 fractions, but we're still dividing by a fraction. So we still follow those rules, but we got to make this 3 a fraction. So what do we got to do to it? Best name? Put it over 1. So 3/1 divided by 5/6. Now, since we have 2 fractions, we have division, we follow our rules. We keep 3/1. Change it to multiplication. Flip this to 6/5. Now, can we do anything with 3 and 5? Nope. 6 and 1? Nope. So we just multiply. What's 3 times 6? 18. And 1 times 5? 5. Well, that is improper. So 5 goes into 18 3 times, and you're left with 3 3/5, which is letter I. Okay, number 10. All right, we have 2 divided by 1 2/3. Terrible 2. Okay, so now we have to change both of them because neither one of them are in fractional form. So we put 2 over 1 divided by, now we got to change this. So we do 1 times 3 plus 2. So that'd be 5 over 3. Now we have 2 fractions, we can follow our rules. So we keep 2 over 1, change it to multiplication, 3 over 5. Okay, is there anything we do 2 and 5? Nope. What about 3 and 1? No. So we get 6 over 5 or 1 1/5. Letter B. Okay, number 11. Let's finish this up real quick. Number 11, we have 2 1/2 divided by 1/2. So this one's good, but we have to change this one. So this is going to be 5 over 2 divided by 1/2. Okay, so we keep the 5 over 2, change it to multiplication, flip it to be 2 over 1. Okay, we can't do anything with 5 and 1, but we can simplify 2 and 2 by 2. So this becomes 1, that becomes 1. So it's just 5, which is letter F. Okay, and the last one real quick. Okay, 3 1/4 divided by 4 1/3. Okay, so you got to change both of them. So this would be 13 over 4 divided by 13 over 3. Okay, so we keep the 13 over 4, change it to multiplication, flip it to 3 over 13. Can't do anything with 3 and 4, but we can divide out of 13. So that's 1, that's 1. You get 3/4. Any questions on these? Okay, so our test is going to be on Friday. Okay, keep the study guide.